Hello, boys and girls. I'm going to show you today how to figure out how shadows move. My name is Sadie, and I am Miss Turney's dog. And no, this is not Miss Turney. No, really, it's me, Sadie. Can't you see? Oh. Good job, Sadie. Hey, boys and girls. Welcome to This Week in Science. We are going to be looking at shadows. We're going to be looking at how the sun creates shadows. We have a lot of really cool labs that we'll be doing this week. I'm excited about that. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. Oh, wrong. No, that's correct. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So science for this week, April 20th to the, oh, there's my finger. How long did it take me? 55 seconds for you to see my finger. Oh, that figures. All right. So looking at science for this week. Remember, just like the last few weeks, you do not click the turn in button until you are completely finished with science for the week. All right, still have some students that are doing Monday's work and then clicking the turn in button, and you don't need to do that until it is completely finished for the week. Okay, all right, here we go. Some of the things that you're going to need for this week: scissors, tape or glue, notebook paper or copy paper, like just like white paper or construction paper, a paper plate possibly if you have it, a straw, flashlight, and one that's on a phone will work just fine, pen, pencil, marker, maybe even some crayons and markers and colored pencils. All right, looking at what we'll be focusing on this week, we are going to collect and we're going to analyze data to identify sequences and predict patterns of change in shadows, seasons, and the observable appearance of the moon. We're going to mostly focus on the shadows part of it. In fact, that's all I'm going to finish that. That's all we're going to focus on is the shadows part of it, which we have done in class already. We've even had a CBA over the shadows, and if I remember correctly, we were first in the district on that CBA. All right, so here's what I want you to think about first. Ask yourself, what is a shadow? And how does your shadow and the direction of your shadow change during the day? All right, so here is from Monday the 20th. This is obviously the page that you were on when you clicked to start this lesson, and you will be reading the passage about the sun's movement and the shadows, and think about how the sun moves across the sky and then how it changes how the shadows behave. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give you a minute to pause this video so that you can read that. I'm not going to read the passage for you today. It's pretty short, but the lab that we are making today is kind of lengthy, so I don't want my video to be super, super long. So if you will go ahead and pause the video and read about the sun's movement and shadows and continue onto this page as well. All right, you are back and you just read about the sun's movement and shadows. You just read about continuing the sun's movement and shadows. Hopefully you paid very close attention to the sundial. That's something we'll be looking at a little bit later. All right, so make sure that you did read that, because some of the questions that we come up on Friday, that will be helpful. Think about how the sun moves across the sky and how it changes the shadows and how they behave. Today we're going to make a model of the movement of the sun across the sky. We're going to call it the Shadow Lab. And I want you to use the step-by-step directions and the pictures on the next few slides to show you how to make a shadow model. All right, so we're going to start with 2 pieces of white copy paper, a ruler, some sort of small object like a pencil or a marker, scissors, and then tape or glue. All right, so I'm going to show you how to make this. All right, and guess what I did not do? I did not. Is anybody available for a second? I need you to videotape me. Sorry. I didn't grab my stand, and it'll be easier for you to just do it this way anyways. Okay, so this is what we're making right here. Okay, we're making this sun shadow dial thing. Okay, all right, can you just hold it like right here while I make one? Okay, here we go. So it says to take a piece of paper and thank you, babe. All right, take a piece of paper and fold it in half vertically is what it tells you to do. So that's what I did. It tells you to open it back up, and it tells you to measure 3 inches from the top. So ruler or tape measure or whatever you have, measure about 3 inches from the top. Now I'm going to do mine super, super fast, just so that you have the idea of what to do, but obviously I did one already. I took my time, and I made it really, really nice. All right, after you measure it 3 inches from the top, you're going to fold it down right where you made that mark. And this is all in the directions. All right, I'm just going to draw that line right there. All right, and then it says to measure 1 inch from that line right here in the middle. So there's that line right there. Measure about 1 inch, and I'm going to put the mark right there on that fold line, okay? And it says to make yourself a little box and color it in, okay? And then it tells you to draw your compass rose down here at the bottom. When you draw your compass rose, we're going to start with north and south. And then we'll do east and west. But don't forget the directions in between as well, because the shadows that we're going to be seeing today will definitely have the directions in between. So this one would be considered northeast. This is southeast, southwest, and northwest. At any time that you need to, pause this video so that you can catch up with me. I'm going to go really quickly in the video. All right, so that is everything. Let me show this page. That's everything on that page right there. Okay, and so now I'm moving to this next page. We're going to continue making it. All right, here we go. Now it says to get your second piece of paper, which is going to be this one right here. It says to fold it in half horizontally. All right there. And then it says to draw a line 1 inch from the fold at the bottom, so about an inch. Draw myself a little mark at about an inch. And that's just going to let me know where it is that I need to fold this. And this is already the fold right there. And then just about an inch. Okay. There we go. It's a little slanted, but no, I can't live with that. You know me. All right, let's see. So I'm going to measure an inch on this side. Oh yeah, that was slanted. That would have driven me crazy. Okay, there. My husband's probably laughing at me right now. You laughing at me, babe? No. No, you just know me, don't you? All right. That's a little better. Okay, there we go. So then it says at the bottom, draw a half circle. So I need a half circle right here. And what you need to do, go around the house and find something. I mean, if you want to just do your half circle right there, you can, but that would drive me nuts. So find something that you feel like would make a good half circle right there. I'm actually using, check it out. So this is what we heat our tortillas up in. Actually, we heated up tamales the other day. And so I'm just using the lid from that, or I could just use this as well. And I'm going to draw my half circle. So you can see that's kind of the middle right there. And take my pencil and draw the half circle right there. And notice that I'm stopping it on that fold line right there. Okay, stopping it on that fold line. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw. There's that fold line right there. And then here's my half circle. Like I said, at any point that you need to, go ahead and pause the video so that you can catch up to where I am. I'm not doing mine super, super neat, and I want yours to be super, super neat, so take your time. All right, then it says to label your half circle starting with 3 a.m. in the right-hand bottom corner. So right down here is going to be what is considered 3 a.m. and then 9 p.m. on the opposite side. So this is going to be 9 p.m. on the opposite side, and then 12 o'clock noon is going to be smack dab in the middle. The way for me to tell the smack dab middle is I'm just going to fold it in half, and then I know that that right there is my 12 noon. Okay, 12 noon. Then does it tell you to go ahead and, oh, you got to put everything else in between it. Yep, okay, so I need all the other times to go in between it, which means I've got to have 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and 4 right there. So I kind of just used my pencil, And I knew that I needed 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. I needed 8 of them. I need 8 marks right there. And so I kind of used my pencil and created those marks. I'm going to use the one that I used last time just so that I can see it better. But use your pencil and kind of make the marks. Okay? And if it doesn't look good, erase and go over it. All right. And I can't see through there, so I'm just going to freehand it. Let's see. What did I say? 11, right? 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Oh, not bad, Miss Turney. Not bad at all. Okay. And then label from 11, 10, 9, 8 a.m., 7, 6, 5, 4, and 3 a.m. And then on the opposite side as well, 8, no, hold on, 12, am I going the other way? Which way am I going now? Yeah, 8.
No.
Yeah, because I got to go to 1 o'clock in the, right? Yeah.
9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m., 12 p.m.
No, because it's going down. So 8 p.m. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then a.m. and then noon. Yeah. Right?
That's right. Yes, that's right.
That's right? 4 a.m.
You're going
12 noon.
You're going 9 p.m.
Oh, p.m. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm confusing myself. Glad I have you here. So 12 noon, 1 p.m. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 p.m. Okay? Then it says that you are going to cut that out. So take your scissors and cut this out. I'm glad I have you here today, babe. There's no way I could have done this on my own. Okay, so I just have these extra pieces over here. And then I'm also just going to cut right there. Now, save that extra piece of paper right here because I found that I used it to write something on in just a little bit. So as you can see, this is our little dial right here. Here's this little thing that folds backward like that, okay? And then this gets taped or glued onto here, and it sits here just like that, okay? So I'm just gonna take my glue, put it right here. Make sure you glue it really, really well. I'm just gluing it super, super fast. And there we go. All right, so now press it down really good. It's got to stand up like that. Oh, there's the answers to the quizzes from last week. All right, so it's got to stand up just like that. And then you have to decide what object you're going to put right here that you're going to find the shadow of, okay? So as you can see on the pictures on there, it uses like a little jam bottle. So I have lots of different items right here that you could possibly use. Here's a little chocolate kiss that you could use. Use, honestly, kind of like the smaller, the better. You could use a battery. As you can see right now, it's even casting a shadow just from what I'm using there. Here's a sticky note thing that I stood straight up. Here's something for spices right there. I'm going to actually wind up using, I have this little makeup eye repair cream anyways. So maybe your mom has some of that stuff. Maybe she doesn't. I don't know. So this is going to be the object that I wind up using to figure out the shadows, okay? So we just figured out and finished this page right here. All right, so we just did all of that, and we chose what item we were going to use, and we put it right there. So go find an item that you can put right there, and then we're going to keep going. All right, so now we're actually going to do the shadow dial, okay? And we're going to need a flashlight. One on the phone is just fine. I'm actually going to turn off my little lamp over here so it's not casting too much of a shadow already. All right, we're going to be measuring the shadow, finding the direction of the shadow, and then graphing it on a chart and a bar graph. And you need to be thinking about, does the time of the day change the direction of the shadow and why? All right, so here's what you're going to do. I've got my flashlight on my phone, and we're going to start off by going at 7 a.m. So the directions say 7 a.m. Now you'll notice that on the slide, right here, It uses this little dude, little guy, and this one's actually already printed out. We didn't use that. We made our own because I wanted to be able for you to make your own. So, but it's pretty much the same thing. So we're going to have the light starting at 7 a.m. So here's my 7 a.m. right there, and I'm putting my light right at that 7 a.m. And you're looking at the shadow that it's casting. Move it back just a tad bit. Really kind of needs to be straight up and down. Okay, and you're looking at the shadow that it's casting. And as you can see, as I do it right there at 7 a.m., this is the shadow that it's casting right there. And it tells you in step number 13, find the longest point on the shadow and mark the spot and label it 7 a.m. on the base of the paper. So right here is like the longest point on the shadow. So I'm going to put my finger there. I'm going to put my flashlight down. I'm going to go right there, and I'm going to mark that 7 a.m. because that's 7 a.m. Now remember, this little thing is supposed to be right here in the middle of this dot, okay? So that is my 7 a.m. right there. So I'm marking it on that paper. All right, moving on to the next slide. What just happened? Your finger's over it. I do that all the time. All right, moving on to the next slide. 14, we're going to measure the distance from the mark to the middle of, now it says your figure's feet because it's using like a little person, but basically to the middle of whatever it is that you put there. And then we're also going to look at what direction the shadow is going so that we can put that on our data sheet, okay? All right, so now, I'm going to turn my little light back on. All right, so now I'm going to measure from this dot that I made to the middle of my shadow. And there's the middle, not the middle of my shadow, the middle of my object. So there's the middle of my object. And I'm looking, and it is right about, let's see, the dot that I made is at about 2 3/4 of an inch. 2 3/4 of an inch. So this is what I'm going to use that extra piece of paper for. So I don't have to keep going back and forth from what I'm doing to the chart. I'm just going to write down 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and I'm going to write it on a piece of paper so that when I get done, it's easy to fill in my chart. So at 7, we're going to look at the direction. Okay, so it's kind of going this way. So that's not south, because that would be south, and it's not west, because that would be west. It's kind of right in the middle. That's at southwest. So the direction is southwest, and then I said it was at 2 3/4 of an inch. So you could write that like that, or you could write 2 3/4 of an inch. Either way. All right, and then the directions tell you that what you'll do is you'll keep going, and you'll do this with 8 a.m. So look at where it is at 8 a.m. and mark it, and then write the direction and how far, and then look where it is at 9 a.m. and then look where it is at 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. and 12 a.m. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 5 p.m. So do that with all of those, and then just write here what direction it was. And don't forget, after each one, so like when I do the 12 or when I do the 11, I have to put my finger on the furthest part of the shadow, which was right there. As soon as I put it down, I would say, okay, that's 11 a.m., and I would need to measure from the middle right there, and that is right at 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so make sure you do that after every single number that you do. Okay, and that is right here, step 14. Okay, so then you have to make sure that you put all of this information right here onto the chart. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, so here is the chart. We're going to be putting the direction, and we're going to be putting, here we go, right here. Okay, so you have to put in a text box, just like always, insert in text box. Okay, I don't have to do it on this one because I haven't locked it yet, but the shadow right here at 7 a.m. Now this was mine for the object that I did, okay, but the shadow was, the direction of the shadow was SW, southwest, okay, and I'm just going to put that in the middle because that would drive me crazy that that's not in the middle. Okay. All right, so southwest, and then the length of the shadow to the nearest inch, I'm going to do 2.75 inches, okay? And that's what it was. Now you're just going to insert a text box, which is a little bit different than what that is. So make sure you put in the direction, and then make sure you put in the length of the shadow, okay? And then for this one right here, we're going to be, it says, data sheet, record the direction of the shadow and the length of the shadow to the nearest inch. In the bar graph, we're going to color in each block for each inch for the shadow for that time of the day. So as you can see, 7 a.m. I need to color in 1, 2, 3 of those boxes, okay? And be very careful because I'm not going to lock this right here. I'm not going to lock this right there like I normally lock something, so be careful not to delete it. But I am going to show you how to color in those boxes. So if you just click right there inside of that box, and you go right up here, and this is the border color, you need to click on this one that says fill color. And you choose whatever color you want to. So I'm just going to fill it with a purple. It fills it with purple. But I need to fill it with 3 inches because this is the length of the shadow to the nearest inch. And right here, oh, it wasn't quite 3. Then I probably need to change this to 3 because I'm not following my own directions. So that's going to be 3 inches because it's to the nearest inch. Okay? So I have to color in 3 of these boxes. So let me do that again. There's 1. So I'm going to click inside the box, go right up here to fill color, and I'm going to choose purple. And then I need to do 1 more. Click inside the box, go up here to the fill color, and choose purple. So then I show that at 7 a.m. it was 1, 2, 3 inches of a shadow. All right, and you just need to do that with all of the rest of the information. And I think that is it. Be sure that if you need to pause the video at any point, make sure you pause it so you can catch up to where I am. And I'll be taking a grade today on your data sheet being filled in and your bar graph being filled in. All right, have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.